All right, ladies and gentlemen, it must be a holiday weekend because it's a real treat having the legend that is Jim Cullinay. I've been a fan of his for over a decade, and I enjoy working with him.
A decade? What happened to the first 15 years I worked in this market? Come on, Rob.
I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to date you.
Thank God, I'm happily married.
It really has been. It has been since the mid-'90s, maybe, right?
Yeah, 91.
Well, you do great.
Been around here for a little bit.
Well, listen, and I used to enjoy with Mr. Madden, too. Truly a legend. And
well, that's none of your business.
Well, I know, exactly right. But nobody knows hockey like Mark Madden. That's the truth.
That's the old logo. What are you doing with that thing?
Well,
the pigeon logo, Rob. Come on.
It's Pittsburgh. You got to have a pigeon.
They've beaten back those are doves, Rob. We call them doves here.
All right.
But yeah, Penguins. I mean, it's all about the Penguins.
It is. And this is what Mike Sullivan had to say about his players.
I couldn't be more proud of them or happier for them. We're not finished. We've got to reset our emotional level, and we've got to get geared up for the most important couple of weeks of our season.
You know, you think of guys like Brian Rust and others. Well, let's say this. He loves the American Hockey League where he once coached, and these players that he watched grow up have really grown up in the National Hockey League. Boy, it's really firing on all cylinders, isn't it?
Well, you know what? I don't even know if the Penguins themselves had any idea what they had at Wilkes-Barre. Typically it's like, let's bring in some guys from other organizations. Mm-hmm. A few years ago, they brought in, at the trade deadline, they brought in guys like, well, they misused, I can't remember his name, Jerome McGinley. They misused him. Brendan Morrow was too slow. So was Crankshaft. And it didn't help them. They got slower when they brought in these veterans. And this year, they've gotten faster. The trades that Jim Rutherford made for Trevor Daley and Carl Hagelin, too bad Daley's out now. But then bringing up Rust and Kuhnhackl and Sherry, and then don't forget Scott Wilson, who was scoring goals before he got hurt. And, of course, Matt Murray, his play has spoken for itself. I don't think anybody had any idea that there was that much young talent at Wilkes-Barre Scranton. And then the other guys are starting to pick up their games. And who knew about, Bonino? He's a new guy. Hagelin, new guy. Kessel, new guy. And right now, and I know San Jose has something to say about this because they've got some good forwards, too. But that's been the hottest line in hockey in the postseason, and it's going to be fun to watch because not only did the Penguins, since Mike Sullivan lost his first 4 games, they've won, I think it's almost more than 2/3 of their games. They're the hottest team in the league, and San Jose kind of did the same thing in the West. They were wallowing, and they've been the best team in 2016 in the Western Conference. So really, what you have right now is the 2 best teams in the league.
He knows hockey. Listen, speaking of the Sharks, well, you do. Listen, speaking of the Sharks, I've been a fan of Joe Thornton's for a very long time. And you know what? He is going to be a factor, there's no doubt. But there's a couple of other guys. Couture is a guy who's got 24 points, and Brent Burns has got, I think, 20, and Pavlovsky's got 22. Tell me about those guys and how they figure going up against the Pens.
Brent Burns should take an axe and go up into Cook's Forest and start chopping down trees.
Big.
Oh, I mean, that's what he looks like.
Yeah.
And he scores goals. He's a big defenseman that scores goals. Thornton, the thing about the Sharks is that they've got the reputation as underachievers. And that's another thing that they have in common with the Penguins, that when it came to the postseason, Crosby, Malkin, where have these guys been after they won in 2009? And I know there were some years where both were hurt, but that they failed to live up to expectations. San Jose's got that reputation. Thornton's got that reputation. Pavelski, I guess, has that reputation. All those veterans, the guys that have been there and have put up a lot of points and have not gotten to this is the first time they've gotten to the Stanley Cup Finals.
In franchise history.
Yes, right. So they've got Bob Airey, the first captain in Sharks history. Thank you very much.
Wow.
So, in fact, it was a teammate of Mike Sullivan. The Penguins coach was on that team when Airey was the captain. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And let's not forget that Paul Martin, who did a nice job for the Penguins. He had that bad first year, and then after that was really good, got himself a big contract with the San Jose Sharks. I always like Nick Spaulding, good dude. He comes back to town. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and it's an opponent that Penguin fans aren't that familiar with.
Tell me about Martin Jones. Now, he was a Boston Bruin for 24 hours after getting dealt by the Kings, and now he's out in San Jose. Even though Matt Murray, I think he's won 11 in the postseason.
Yeah, 11-2.
You still have to give him the edge, I think, Murray.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Martin Jones, but it's, a similar situation where a guy who's been a backup, he was a backup with the LA Kings when they won the Stanley Cup. Mm-hmm. So he's finally getting a chance. And Reimer, I thought, was a guy that they brought in that they thought was going to be their goalie. And not that Marc-Andre Fleury's forgotten. I mean, he's just, I think the concussion, it's just too tough to recover from a concussion. And Matt Murray's playing too well to take him out of the net. You can't do it. But Martin Jones seems to have seized that job, so he's gotten a chance, and he's making the most of it.
Crosby, Malcolm obviously have not been the major headlines, especially not Malcolm. How important is it for them to slam the door shut here in the final to really give the Penguins a fighting chance? Or do you think what has brought them to this point is enough to get them the cup?
Well, no, it's going to be tough. We saw what happened last series. I mean, Tampa Bay lost its goalie. Steven Stamkos, he didn't really play. He didn't play until the end. Strawman was coming off an injury, and he wasn't really. I think he was good when he first came back, and then I think the last couple games, I think that not playing for a couple of months caught up with him. Malkin, kind of quietly, if you can say quietly, he had 2 assists in the 2-1 win. He set up both goals. So is he coming around? And we kind of kid because on the Fan Morning Show we have to do these predictions, which I hate doing, but I make them anyway. And so I've been predicting every game basically that Malkin, this is going to be the game that Gino scores a goal. It hasn't happened yet. So Gino gets a goal in game 1. I'm sticking with that prediction. I'm going to run with it.
He's also with Larry and John on the News Radio 1020 KDKA morning show.
I'm everywhere.
You are everywhere. And listen, you also played Shadow Lakes with my buddy Dirk Hartman. How'd you have fun out there?
I did. He's a lot of fun.
Woo!
He's a lot
Personality.
of fun. Yes, very nice. He was very nice to me. My game did drag his down quite a bit over the first 9, but finally he got used to some of my my bad game, and so the back 9 he was much better. But it met Jimmy Maggs out there. I mean, This is your turf, Rob. They were all asking me about you. You're the king of Beaver County.
Did you see Jean-Claude?
I did
John
not.
Sebastian Aubin was
no, he was off that day, and he's got some little kids, and so he had other
4
responsibilities. And but we're supposed to set up a game at some point.
Well,
I'll
tell
get on
you,
the links with Seabass.
Listen, all Dirk kept saying to me, Jeff Hathorn, Jim Colony, get him down here. So he's been there, and others will be there too.
Hathorn, we're gonna set it up someday where Jeff and I we're rarely seen in the same place at the same time because if I'm on the air. If one of us is on the air, the other guy's not, and then we can't be.
Last thing, Pens are the favorite at last.
Just by a little bit.
Are you
just by a little?
Are you shocked
bit.
by it a little bit?
No, because like I said, San Jose is playing very well, and I think some people, if the Penguins had beaten Tampa Bay in 5 games, then you'd see the Penguins would be a more prohibitive favorite. But no, it's just I think it's like 4-5 or 5-4, something like that. Or 20-20. I don't know how these numbers work, but whatever it is, it's just just slightly more than 50-50 on the Penguins, just slightly.
Happy for Mario Lemieux, obviously.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Me too.
I don't know if he's going to send any text messages or if he did before Game 7. I think you kind of wait until the 7th game of the Stanley Cup Finals before you resort to the Mario text.
Listen, as much as I love hockey, it's your game or your buddy, and really, I've always been a fan of Mark Madden when it comes to hockey. I have a lot of
Mark.
Hi, Mark. I have a lot of friends that have been following the Penguins when they were wearing blue and white, and you could leave 5 minutes from Green Tree before they dropped the puck and be right behind the glass. I mean, so a lot of people have really gone through some painstaking times. And because of Lemieux getting ill, missed out on some cup chances, we were hoping Crosby would get us back there as quickly as maybe the next year, but it didn't happen. So this is the first time since 2009. So it's just nice to see the franchise back playing for the cup.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, from our standpoint, we get to cover these things, so we get 2 more weeks of hockey, and that's great. And could you imagine if it goes 7 games, Game 7 in Pittsburgh, the night before the U.S. Open begins? That's a Wednesday. It'd be Wednesday with the U.S. Open. It'd be in the middle of it'll be in the middle of U.S. Open week, but it would be just before. The night before the first day of the Open at Oakmont.
And just tell the folks, and I've tried to, how much money this means for the economy. I mean,
I don't know how they figure this stuff out, but it does mean a lot. There are a bunch of media people, freeloading media people that'll be staying in hotels, and then the teams coming in and families coming in and fans coming in. Although San Jose, Pittsburgh, this isn't like driving to Detroit for 3.5 hours just to go see the drive to Detroit, which was easy. I like that. But it's fun. It's fun to play somebody different. And hey, if we can make a few more bucks in this city, I'm all for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible talent of Jim Colony. And listen, you're
Rob,
never
this is the longest video you've ever done.
No, it's actually 3 minutes shorter than anyone I've ever done. But no, I never see you here on Saturdays ever. So I'm just excited you're here.
Yeah, we're doing a solid. Had some short-handed situations, and so Chris Muller's wedding today.
Oh, congratulations, Chris.
So basically, it's so that I got to fix my glasses. I didn't realize I was on camera.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. So we're switching it up so that Jeff Hathorn and I can be seen at the same place at the same time at Chris's wedding today. So congratulations to Chris and Alex, good luck to you.
You'll do just fine. Ladies and gentlemen, hear him every day, every 20 minutes, 93.7 The Fan, and in the morning with Larry and John on the KDK.
It's the biggest moment of my career right here.